Hi everybody. I am glad to see you on the new recap. I expect a lot of support from you. The video promises to be hot, so enjoy watching. The narrative begins with a demonstration of the main character who has just woken up, who is in bed with a girl. "Are you awake yet?" The girl asked, to which the guy reacted with fright because he did not understand where he was and what kind of situation it was. Instantly jumping off the bed, the hero stared at the girl with fright. Having lit a cigarette, the girl was puzzled. Does the effect of the drug end so quickly? Haha, that's even better. The hero was very surprised by the situation. What, have I been reborn? He begins to remember that 300 years ago he accidentally fell into a fairy tale world, and this was the beginning of his journey of cultivation. We are shown the guy's memories, how hard he worked to find knowledge. By training day and night, becoming a cultivator swordsman. And finally, when he reached his goal. Unexpectedly, he did not reach the kingdom of eternity, instead opening a corridor of space and time, and returned to Earth when he was 17 years old. While the hero was wondering who this girl was, she called him to her. The guy did not accept the invitation and started to get ready, saying that it seems they did not understand each other, so he leaves. Leaving? The girl said, introducing herself as Yi Changsi. She asked him if he thought she would let him go after he saw him in these clothes. The guy decided to just turn around and leave, which the girl didn't like very much. She grabbed his hand and wanted to stop him, but the hero dodged and grabbed her hand. Yi Changsi was surprised by this turn of events, and the guy realized that there was no energy in his current body at all, so after the girl used the skill, the guy flew away. The hero was able to stand on his feet and saw his school uniform and grabbed it and rushed to run away. Yi Changsi stood and thought, I wonder if you were able to evade the impulse. Chu Qing, you are my big white rabbit, I won't let you go, you won't be able to escape. Some time later, Chu Qing stood in the middle of the street and rejoiced. After 300 years he finally returned to Earth. Father, mother, sister, he will be able to see them again. The couple's conversation distracted him from his thoughts. The guy was crying, and the girl was indignant. Men are really troublesome, isn't it just buying a bag? Why are you crying? Don't cry, I'll buy it for you. The guy was very happy and hugged the girl. Chu Qing was very puzzled. What just happened? But then he was pushed aside by a muscular girl and asked not to block the road. Chu Qing saw how roadworks were being carried out and only girls worked there. Our hero did not understand what was happening, why people in this world are not at all like those who were in his world. The next chapter begins with a demonstration of the main character in the library. Chu Qing learns that this world has changed since ancient times due to a catastrophe that changed the physical condition of women, making them strong and intelligent. This change forced the emperor to hand over his throne to the princess, not the prince. In the 21st century, under the influence of modern changes, the concept of the relationship of women to men is changing. When a man is married and wants to divorce, a woman may not give a divorce. In this world, it's normal for a woman to pursue a man. In this world, women are superior to men. The whole world has changed. Chu Qing is in turmoil because it is unknown whether his house exists here. Arriving at the former place of his house, he sees his father cleaning and jumps into his arms. The father asked if our hero was going to go home right after school, but after sniffing he feels perfume. Have you met a girl? How many times have I told you, it's dangerous for such a handsome guy to walk. Even if it's a classmate, you always need to be on the alert. Having said all this, the father shows the newspaper, which says that one guy who confided in his classmates was raped and posted a video online. This guy has no future anymore. Chu Qing didn't understand what was going on and why his father was scolding him. Your sister dropped out of university in her 3rd year, and mom and I don't expect anything from her anymore, so you should go to a good university. The father continued. I understand everything, Dad, don't worry. Where's mom? Asked Chu Qing. At this time, she was discussing business with other people. She was in a quandary. It was already time for dinner. Chu Qing went to call his sister. When he opened the door, he saw his sister sitting at the computer. The next chapter greets us with the introduction of the main character's sister. Her name is Chu Xiao, and she was chatting with a guy. You know how to liberate me and quickly take off my panties. Chu Xiao said while sitting on the chair. Do you want a gift? Money is not a problem. At this point, Chu Qing closed the door as he was at a loss about what had happened to his sister. From misunderstanding, Chu Qing screamed, which scared his sister. After that, Chu Xiao came out smiling at her brother, to which he asked her to hurry up as it was time to eat. She was thinking about what she had been distracted from and was thinking about the live broadcast. But after looking at her brother, she said that it was too early for such kids to know about it. Then she left, leaving Chu Qing in disbelief. After some time, we are shown Chu Xiao in a beautiful outfit who says she will have dinner with friends and asks for 1,000 yen. The father asked what they would do. To which Chu Xiao replied that she was offered to open a joint business, so she goes to discuss everything. Her father said that if she was like her brother, then she and her mother would not have to worry. Taking the money, she answered why she should take an example from him if he is just a man. He can just marry a rich girl, and she herself needs to arrange her life, and her parents should support her. The father shouted to the outgoing Chu Xiao that she should not spend everything at once and in vain, since her mother is not given this earnings so easily. Is it okay that you let her go like that? Chu Qing asked. The father said that he couldn't do anything, she was a girl, she couldn't be tied to the house like his. Then mom came, and Chu Qing immediately rushed to hug her. What happened to you? I asked, Mom. Don't you have enough pocket money? Holding them out, she asked. Chu Qing was shocked, his mother used to be stingy, and he had to deceive her to beg for 10 yuan for an internet cafe. But now she herself willingly gave him money. Chu Qing wanted to give them up, saying that he didn't need them. To which mom replied, even though they are going through difficult times, it will not affect him in any way, and his academic performance is the best reward for her. Where is Chu Xiao? Mom asked. This girl does whatever she wants. The father answered, pouring a glass of water for his wife. She's still fooling around, I didn't raise her for this, nothing, soon she herself will realize the importance of the duties of the head of the family. Chu Qing watched them making out and thought, what is this? He understands that this is another world, but he cannot accept it at all. Boys should be bright, and girls should be hooligans. Mom said, hugging her husband. Yes, you're right. Aren't you hungry? I'll cook you dinner. Father said, snuggling up to her. This is too disgusting, thought Chu Qing and went to his room. When he entered the room, he was surprised, his room was very nice and more like a girl's room. The predominance of women's rights has taken root in this world. They need to have an apartment and a car to get married. In turn, to be desired, he only needs to be beautiful. Opening the desk drawer, Chu Qing saw a bunch of love letters, apparently he is a high school celebrity. Without becoming distracted by all this, he decided to start cultivating as soon as possible in order to restore his skills and return to his land. The energy in this place was quite rich, with this energy he would easily restore everything he had ever been able to. I have to leave this parallel world as soon as possible, with this thought he began to cultivate. He opened his eyes late at night, after practicing the golden will, his 5 senses intensified. He decided to test them and clearly saw and heard the whole apartment, sitting in his room. The father and mother were already asleep, but the sister was still not there. But remembering what kind of world he is in now, he was not surprised that the girls were walking late. His thoughts were interrupted by a phone call, it was Chu Xiao. No sooner had he picked up the phone than she told him not to say anything to his parents and not to call the police, she was in trouble. Chu Qing was very worried. What happened to Chu Xiao? Listen carefully, I have a black bag under my bed in my room, bring it to the Crescent Bar. Then another girl snatches the phone and says, if you want everything to be fine with your sister, quickly bring the bag to room 302. Okay, I'll do everything. Said Chu Qing and hung up, he was angry. Taking the bag, he jumped down from the window. I won't let anyone touch my family. And rushed to the designated place on the roofs of houses. Some time later, Chu Qing stood surrounded by the girls who were holding Chu Xiao. Putting the bag on the table in front of the main one. He said, I brought what you asked, let your sister go. But after looking at Chu Qing, she said, and you are even more beautiful than in the photo. How old are you? She asked. None of your business, our hero replied. The girl was angry, she opened the bag, there was quite a lot of money, which Chu Xiao was very surprised. Chu Qing looked at his sister with bewilderment, didn't you know that there was money there? Sister Zhu, I didn't know it was your money, Xiaolin said it was her personal belongings and asked me to keep it for a while. Shut up, no one dares to steal my money. Lin Xiaowen pretended to work for me, but actually stole my money. Zhu said and zipped up her bag. Get out of here before I get mad, Chu Xiao wanted to take her brother and leave already. Wait, did I say that your brother can go? Chu Xiao was scared, damn, it would be very difficult to leave. Your brother looks very good, I like him, you can leave, but he stays. I won't let you touch my brother. Don't involve him in women's affairs, he's still young. Chu Xiao screamed. I'll let him go, but then you have to stay here. But keep in mind if your brother stays here, you can go, but if he leaves, you'll have to work very hard, don't blame me later. Chu Xiao looked at Chu Qing with regret. Okay, I'm staying. Xiao Qing, go home first, I'll come a little later, you're a guy, it's not safe for you to be here. This is my problem and I have to sort it out. Do you think your brother is immoral? He took his sister by the hand and said to Chu Qing. Putting his foot on the table with complete self-confidence, he said. Hey old woman, will you let me stay here? Zhu was very angry. Stinky kid, do you want to die? Believe me, I'll drag you to bed, torture you and won't feed you. But Chu Qing interrupted her with a punch to the face, which scared his sister very much. Zhu became even more angry and tried to remove Chu Qing, but he was able to repel her blow. Interesting. Women have great power in this world. He thought. Attack if you can. Zhu, holding the hand that Chu Qing was trying to hit, shouted. All of you. Attack him. But they failed, and our hero coped with all of them. It's over, let's go home, he told his sister. But Zhu didn't give up so easily and pulled out a gun. Stop. If you take another step, I'll shoot. Let's see who is faster than a bullet or you. Chu Xiao tried to dissuade her, but Zhu was adamant. No matter what you say, I'm going to kill you right now. If you want it so much, I am ready to serve you. Said Chu Qing to protect his sister. But then they were distracted by a girl who suddenly came in, it was Yi Chengxi. Haha, an interesting sight. How could you not call me? Is that you, Chu Qing? Yi Chengxi said. And he remembered her, because she was in bed with him when he woke up. Why are you here? This is my place. Zhu Yun, I'm taking him away, it's none of your business now, hurry up and get lost. Zhu Yun didn't like it, and she wanted to object. Do you want to break the rules? But Yi Chengxi was not going to tolerate bickering and ordered the bodyguards to cut off her arms and legs and throw her out into the street. Zhu was very scared and asked for forgiveness. But Yi Chengxi said to cut off only one leg and one arm. And turned to Chu Qing. This is my gift for you, do you like it? Chu Qing was wondering why she was helping him, to which she replied that he was the first one who dared to talk to her like that. He's completely different from the other guys. So she decided that he would become her 36th boyfriend. But Chu Qing did not accept the offer, saying that she was not his type and he would have coped without her help. Yi Chengxi didn't believe it because he had a fragile male body, how could he defeat Zhu? To which Chu Qing waved off saying how dare she compare herself to him. Chu Xiao was scared by her brother's behavior and asked in a whisper how he could talk like that to a woman like Yi Chengxi. Yi Chengxi was wondering why he was so confident in himself and asked how to check this as well. Chu Qing did not think long, offering arm wrestling and setting a condition that if she lost, she would never bother him again. This surprised her. Have you forgotten that you are a man? And what, are you really afraid? This made Yi Chengxi laugh, she agreed to the condition, but said that if she won, he would become her boyfriend. Some time later, they were sitting opposite each other. And a rather large crowd of girls gathered around them. The girls were confident of Yi Chengxi's victory, but they were interested in the guy sitting across from her. Women in this world are really very strong and look down on men. Yi Chengxi was confident of her victory. Chu Qing, I will make you see the gap between us. She said while they were getting ready to start. Let's get started. After the voice that gave the start to the competition, their duel began. You're pretty strong, but I'm not an ordinary person. Having said that, Chu Qing pressed her hand to the table, thereby winning. I won, don't forget about our deal. Taking his sister's hand, Chu Qing began to leave. Everyone was surprised by what they saw and thought that Yi Chengxi had succumbed to him, but she sat and watched him leave. One of the bodyguards offered to tie the guy up, but received a slap in the face. Shut up, I haven't lost yet. Chu Qing, you surprised me, but don't forget, a boy like you, it's better to hold on to our strong female wings. My offer is still valid, as long as you're my boyfriend, no one will dare to touch you. Who said men should cling to women? We have the strength to achieve everything ourselves. Chu Qing said. To which Yi Chengxi replied that since ancient times, men have been oppressed by women. Women are the pillars of the world. They are responsible for the ups and downs of the world. Even small children know about it, she said with a grin. How many people like you do you think there are in the world? Women are more useful and capable, they bring more benefits to society. Chu Qing objected. So what? All I know is that a person always strives for development. Get up and change everything. It's a man. After saying that, he left, and Yi Chengxi stood and looked at it with a smile. Don't you think it's amazing? Such a rebel is perfect for me. She was talking to her bodyguard. Ms. Yi, you were asked to come back early because of the reception. Come back? I went out for a walk for a couple of days and stop calling me mistress. My sister is still alive. It was still dark outside. Chu Xiao was asking her brother if he could hide from his parents what had happened today. But he did. That she would tell her parents everything, because if it wasn't for him, she probably wouldn't have come out of there unscathed. Chu Xiao was not happy about this news. Are you going to blackmail me with this? By the way, since when did you become so strong? Can Yi Chengxi marry you in the future? She is the heiress of a family that has inherited power in the underworld. She's only a few years older than you. Yes, and if you get married, she will help your sister. Chu Qing didn't like this conversation. Shut up or I'll take you back to the bar. Then we see how the main character cultivates sitting on the bed. He wants to reach his previous level faster. Now he can only see and hear clearly. This is not enough. The action is transferred to Jinmen High School. Some chubby guy ran very feminine to Chu Qing. It was his best friend Lin Dong. Taking his friend by the hand, Lin Dong bombarded him with questions. What did you do yesterday? Why didn't you answer the phone? But Chu Qing was not satisfied with this, and he jumped back without answering questions about what was wrong with him. And saying that everything was fine, he ran to school. This sissy is not his best friend at all. With such thoughts he went to class. Sitting in the classroom, he was very upset by the picture he saw. It was the opposite. I want to go blind more and more, being in this world, so as not to see it all. Then the head of the class, Song Jian, came up to him, asking if he was alright. Chu Qing replied that he just didn't have time to have breakfast. So he's a little hungry. Song Jian offered him a bun, justifying it by saying that entrance exams are coming soon and he needs to take care of his health. Very shy, she said. Then she was interrupted by the scream of another girl. Hey! How dare you talk to a handsome schoolboy? She ran up to Chu Qing and hugged him and asked if he had read her letters. He didn't like it and shouted, "Get off me." He pushed her away from him. It made her angry and she screamed. You're just a man, how dare you? I wanted to hit him. But she was stopped by Yi Chengxi's brother. Yi Mao. What are you doing here, Yi Mao? But he didn't answer, only telling her to get out while he was kind. Then the girl ran away, shouting that if it wasn't for his sister, she wouldn't care. Yi Mao said he wanted to talk to him. They went out onto the landing. Yi Mao said he was sorry about what happened yesterday, he wanted to help him, but couldn't find him. The action is transferred to yesterday's events. Yi Chengxi decided to give Chu Qing a ride home and will bring him to Yi Mao. Yi Chengxi offered him a soda, which he drank, and the memories ended. Since there was a sleeping pill in the bottle. Yi Mao was very sorry. If he had known, he would not have asked his sister to take Chu Qing. But Chu Qing calmed him down by saying that everything was fine and he didn't blame him for it. And offered to come back. After leaving school, Yi Chengxi met him and invited him to get into the car. Chu Qing didn't understand why he would do this and why this girl was still bothering him. Think about your family, you should understand what I mean. She said. After getting into the car, Chu Qing said. You made a mistake today. You could visit me, but not threaten my family. What if it's not a threat? Yi Chengxi asked. Whether it's a threat or not, you shouldn't mention it. You must understand the consequences if you dare to threaten me. This is not a threat, I can help your sister and mom, and I know that there have been problems in your mom's company recently. And that you feel sorry for me? No, because you're connected to the underworld now. I will pursue you openly, okay? First we can become friends, then I can help your family. Well, we can be friends. Chu Qing said, relaxing. By the way, I approve of your intentions, but don't mess with me anymore. And hurry up. After which Yi Chengxi sped up. Oh, yes, I wanted to ask you something. Do you practice ancient martial arts? Ancient martial arts? Of course not, can men cultivate in this mer? Chu Qing replied. I know you're lying. Your strength is not like other men, I have already found out information about you and your family's situation. Your family has nothing to do with martial arts. But you don't want to tell. It looks like it's your personal secret. Chu Qing looked at Yi Chengxi with disbelief. And at that moment I noticed a truck moving towards them. Watch out. That's all he managed to say before he crashed into the car. The first thing Yi Chengxi thought about while in the overturned car was, Chu Qing, are you okay? But he covered it with himself from the shrapnel and was badly injured. Yi Chengxi was worried about this. But he picked her up and jumped out of the car. "You have serious wounds, you urgently need to go to the hospital," Yi Chengxi said. "Do you think it's over?" Chu Qing replied. The smoke after the accident began to dissipate and 5 silhouettes were seen in it. When it finally dissipated, 5 girls with bats were walking on Chu Qing and Yi Chengxi. Yi Chengxi was angry, she was asking how they dared to attack and injure her boyfriend. For this, she will kill them. A fight started, the girls started attacking Yi Chengxi. But she was able to fight off 3 enemies at the same time. Meanwhile, one of the girls decided to attack Chu Qing. But she greatly underestimated him, and he easily rebuffed her by hitting her in the stomach. After defeating his rival, Chu Qing picked up her weapon and decided to go to the aid of Yi Chengxi, who fought against opponents. Speeding up, he disabled 2 girls with 1 attack. And Yi Chengxi didn't give the others time to think. All the enemies were defeated, Chu Qing and Yi Chengxi stood over the defeated. Yi Chengxi praised him because he did a good job. To which he replied that it was just a small thing. He surprised Yi Chengxi more and more, she wondered if he was exactly an ordinary high school student. If it wasn't for him, she would have been in big trouble. Chu Qing kept insisting that it was nothing and also postponed their dinner today to tomorrow. It was already late and his father would definitely be worried. Then Yi Chengxi's phone rang. It looks like something serious has happened. Chu Qing wanted to ask what happened. But I decided not to climb because it's not his business. And a high school student like him obviously won't be able to solve her family's problem. He was about to leave, but Yi Chengxi grabbed his hand and asked him to stop, saying that her mother was attacked by a murderer, but she was saved. She is at home now. It is obvious that big changes are coming in the criminal world. Since you and your mom were attacked at the same time. If my mom dies, my aunt will become the head of the family. Then I will be expelled from the family. What should I do? Yi Chengxi was very concerned about the situation. But Chu Qing decided to help her. Don't cry, I'll come with you. Now the state of your family depends only on you. You have to control yourself. Even if I can't help you, at least let me comfort you. Yi Chengxi was very surprised by this. She was surprised by the sincerity coming from his words. She was glad and hugged him. Some time later. The house of the Yi family. Yi Chengxi and Chu Qing go to visit Yi Chengxi's mom. And one of the guards runs to meet them. "Ms. Yi, you're finally back. How are things at home?" Yi Chengxi asked. "It's hard, I can't get in." Yi Mei said that until you arrive, no one else will be allowed to enter. Yi Chengxi was very angry at what she heard. This woman. How dare she? Chu Qing asked who Yi Mei was. This is Yi Chengxi's third aunt. Her mother said that for all the time in their family, Yi Mei always made attempts to collude with other large families. But there was never any substantiated evidence, so her mom couldn't do anything to her. This time she went too far. Chu Qing, let's go. Yi Chengxi said after finishing her explanation, and they went inside. The guards wanted to stop them because there was a guy with her. To which Yi Chengxi said that he was her man and she dared not stop him. But Chu Qing decided to fix the situation on his own, saying that he was a doctor and came to cure Mrs. Yi. Fortunately, he studied medicine in the past world. Now these skills can be useful to him. But the guards just laughed. Huh, doctor? Since when can a man be a doctor? But Chu Qing quickly put them in their place by reminding them. One had a disease of the reproductive system, and the other's kidneys are in poor condition. And also made a guess that they have been using traditional medicine for a long time, but there is no effect. This is most likely due to their prolonged martial arts training. Now, after these words, the guards had no doubt that Chu Qing was really a doctor. Inside they were met by Yi Mei and Yi Meyer. Yi Mei said that Yi Chengxi fortunately returned on time. Otherwise, she doesn't even know what could have happened. Yi Chengxi was angry. Yi Mei, where's my mom? I want to see her. To which Yi Mei replied. What a rude girl, when it comes to seniority, shouldn't you call me third aunt? Besides, how dare you bring such a strange guy home? Men are not allowed to enter the family. He's the doctor I called, so let us through. Yi Chengxi replied. Doctor? How can a man be a doctor? I think he's just a savage that you picked up while you were away these few days. If he wants to enter and become the man of our family, then he must have at least some abilities. Meyer, go check out how great the kid's skills are. I'm listening, Mom. Meyer said. It was clear from the faces of these girls that nothing good was worth waiting for. While Yi Meyer was heading to Chu Qing, Yi Mei was thinking. While her daughter is killing the guy. Yi Chengxi will try to protect him and thereby violate the rules of the family, and then no one will be able to protect her. Even her own mother. Meanwhile, Yi Meyer was talking to Chu Qing. Handsome, if you lose, promise to fulfill my condition. And what is this condition? Chu Qing asked with a smile. If I win, you'll stay with me for one night. Yi Chengxi didn't like Yi Meyer's behavior. Hey, Meyer, don't go too far. But Chu Qing stopped her. Answering Meyer that I agree to her terms, offering to start as soon as possible. And then, suddenly, he noticed a foot flying at him. Having defended himself, he realized that. Obviously, she was only talking to him to distract him. Immediately after the block, Chu Qing carried out a counterattack to the stomach. Meyer flew away, and her mother was very frightened by the situation. Completely confident, he said. Do you still want to sleep with me? Meyer was pretty seriously injured. Therefore, her mother was outraged. Just outrageous. Yi Chengxi, look what kind of person you brought. She screamed. That's enough. If you don't provoke him, he won't touch you. She replied. Chu Qing decided to be sarcastic. Hurry up and get your daughter to the hospital, I can't guarantee that I've contained the force of the blow enough. Yi Mei was angry. Damn idiot. You're too cruel. I will repay you 100-fold. She screamed, holding her unconscious daughter in her arms. A second aunt met them at the door of their mother's chambers. She was very warmly welcomed, immediately hugging. Saying that I finally waited for her. Yi Chengxi asked where her mother was. To which she received an answer that she was fine. But she has a serious injury, and they can only help her for a while. Chu Qing distracted them by saying that since there is such a serious injury there, it cannot be postponed. So, he should go and check on her as soon as possible, maybe he can help. The second aunt asked Chengxi who this guy was. Chu Qing asked me to trust him. And Chengxi confirmed it. Saying he was her friend and helped her when she was attacked. He's also a doctor. They entered the room and Yi Chengxi immediately jumped into her mother's arms, asking if she was okay. And she, in turn, asked who this guy was. Chu Qing hastened to dispel Chengxi's mother's doubts. Saying that he was a doctor and Chengxi asked him to cure her. And also, he asked to show the injuries on the body. At this time, he was thinking about how to justify himself to his family. It's late enough and he should be at home. He had completely forgotten that he was in another world where it was not typical for guys to walk until late at night. But she got sick, laughed, and said that most likely he would not be able to understand her trauma. Thanking him for wanting to help, she asked the second aunt to take him to the guest room. The second aunt asked him to follow her, but Chu Qing stayed where he was. Yi Chengxi insisted that mom let him examine her. He's a good man. If it wasn't for him, she would have been badly hurt in today's attack. Her mom was surprised, it was the first time she sees that her daughter has a high opinion of a man. What is so special about it? Chu Qing decided to dispel all her doubts. Auntie, if I understand correctly, someone attacked you and hit you right in the left shoulder with a poisonous bomb. This technique is very dangerous. Now you have to use most of your strength to resist the spread of this energy. Today your body is very weak, as most of the energy is unstable. Am I right? Chengxi's mother was very surprised and asked everyone except Chu Qing to leave the room. Since she wants to talk to him alone. Yi Chengxi was very surprised and wanted to stay. But the second aunt brought her out. Yi Chengxi's mom was angry and asked him to answer whether his family had sent him to Li. And also what are his intentions about Chengxi. But Chu Qing reassured her by saying that he was not from the Li family. If she wants to know for what purpose he was brought here, let her ask her daughter. Moreover, if he hadn't saved her at the time of the accident, she would be dead now. Saying that she believed him, she decided to show him her wounds. But if he dares to do anything to her daughter, she will cut off his head. While she was saying all this, she took off her robe and bared her torso. Chu Qing was very surprised by this, he even bled from his nose. Chu Qing closed his eyes and thought at this time. God, how can you just take off your clothes without saying anything about it? I may be a teenager, but I'm still a man. After asking if he could cure her, she turned her back on him. Touching her shoulder with his hand and pouring in mana, he began to feel the damage. Gradually infusing mana, he began to draw out negative energy. When he finished, he said that with his abilities, he can only extract a part without daring to take out all the poison at once. He can't know what might happen if they continue with his power. Putting the robe back on, she was surprised. What you did, however, doesn't matter. I feel much better. Chengxi's mom felt much better and asked Chu Qing how she could thank him and what she could do for him. But Chu Qing said he didn't want anything because he and Yi Changsi are friends, and that's what he had to do. Changsi's mom laughed, saying that she had completely forgotten that they were friends, and Chu Qing was surprised why it sounded so awkward. Some time later, Changsi thanked him for what he had done by hugging him. She would never have thought that he could actually heal her mother's injury. And also asked him not to leave today. She wants to give him a gift and thank him properly. Chu Qing refused the offer, saying that his parents would go crazy if they found out that he spent the night at the girl's house. Some time later, a taxi came for Chu Qing, and Changsi saw him off, saying that it was okay that he did not stay. He is handsome and cute and must be careful not to be seduced by another girl. Saying that it was already time for him, Chu Qing got into a taxi. While in the taxi, Chu Qing was examining the poison he had removed from Changsi's mother's body. This poison was like a curse and could not be completely removed with his current powers. There was an elixir in the wizarding world that could eliminate this poison. Are there distillers in this world who can make an elixir like in the fairy world? The next morning at school, something was happening, and the guys were crazy about something. It seemed to be Tang Ziyan. The girls were playing basketball, and Ziyan was the brightest of them. She gracefully scored a goal, and all the guys were crazy about her. Chu Qing recognized her, it really was her, his first love. But the crowd of guys' fans did not let him remember his past. They shouted that they loved her very much. How well she plays. It's really different from the previous life. Chu Qing thought. They didn't know each other in this world, and he doesn't want to be embarrassed and feel awkward in front of her. He was about to leave, but he was called out. It was Ziyang. She asked if they had met before. Chu Qing replied that they go to the same school, so it's not surprising that they met face to face. But she interrupted him, saying that this is not what she meant. And yet, as in her previous life, she likes to dig deep into information. Looking at him, she smiled and asked him to forget his words. Tossing the ball and coming up, she asked him if he wanted to play basketball, she could teach him. But Chu Qing smiled and snatched the ball from her, twirling it on his finger, and smiling agreed to the game. Ziyan offered him a competition. If she wins, then he will become her boyfriend. And if he loses, he will do whatever he wants. A large crowd of people gathered around the basketball court. All of them were interested in the passing match. After all, Tang Ziyan played there, who dominated the coolest students of the school. If any of them had a chance to play with her, it would be the best day of their lives. Meanwhile, the game was going on. Ziyang attacked with the ball. Easily bypassing Chu Qing's defense, she jumps up and scores the ball. The crowd cheered. Tang Ziyan is the best. She will definitely win and become his girlfriend. She didn't react to the crowd's shouts and turned to Chu Qing. To make you my boyfriend, I won't give in. Chu Qing stretched his neck. It's getting more interesting, he said. Circling him with the ball, Ziyang jumps up and almost scores the ball. But suddenly, right before the ball hit the basket, Chu Qing jumped up and knocked it out of her hands. The guys in the crowd were surprised how he could jump so high. And the girls were beside themselves. How can a high school student be so awesome? I will definitely write him a love letter. Holding the ball in his hands, Chu Qing takes the initiative and attacks. Ziyan wanted to defend herself, but right in front of her nose, he jumped up and flew straight to the basket and threw the ball. Ziyang conceded defeat. With a frowning face, asking what he wants since he has already won. Chu Qing walked up to her and lightly pinched her cheek and said, "How about I take care of you?" The whole crowd was shocked. Wow, he wants to dominate. It's so cool and unusual. Ziyang was pleased with this, and she told him, "Okay, but to take care of me, you have to be strong." This answer surprised Chu Qing very much. What? Since when did she become so proud? After school. We are transported to Changsi's mom's house. Chu Qing continues to extract the poison from her body. He noticed that to his surprise, after he cured her, he made a breakthrough in his aura and spiritual body by 30%. After the treatment, Chu Qing talked with Changsi. She was very grateful for her rescue, as well as for the fact that he was treating her mother. She said he could ask for anything he wanted for that. What do I want? Chu Qing thought and imagined Yi Changsi in a maid costume. Chu Qing had a very confused and happy expression on his face. Yi Changsi asked why he was smiling like that, if he had come up with something. To which he waved his finger saying that he still needed time to think. Chu Qing walked down the street and thought about how his spiritual body would fully open up when he treated Auntie next time. To his surprise, he progresses much faster in this world. At that moment, a car pulled up next to him. A fashionable guy came out of it all in pink. He asked Chu Qing if it was him. He had heard that Chu Qing had decided to hit on Tan Ziyan. Spitting, he began to bully Chu Qing, asking him what he thinks of himself. Is he handsome? Had he ever heard of him? Li Yue? Chu Qing stood in disbelief. What kind of jerk is standing in front of him? Chu Qing greatly annoyed Li Yue with his silence, and he decided to hit him. But Chu Qing easily repelled the blow by taking his hand and breaking it behind his back. Li Yue shouted that he was in pain and that he was even allowing himself. He started calling the bodyguards for help and asked them to kill Chu Qing. But Chu Qing easily dealt with the bodyguards and stuck Li Yue face first into the ground. Holding him facing the ground, Chu Qing told him that next time if he wanted to beat him, he should take a lot more people. But Li Yue shouted that the Li family would not leave it like that. He may not even dream that Tan Ziyang could become his girlfriend. Their parents have already decided everything, and she will marry Li Yue. But he annoyed Chu Qing a lot, so he hit him a couple more times, saying that he made a lot of noise and he was very annoying. Dusting off his hands, he went on thinking that the Tan Ziyang family or she herself had problems. Otherwise, how would they have agreed to a wedding with the Li family? He remembered that it seemed that Yi Chengxi's mom had said something about the Li family and he needed to find out something about them. Remembering what Yi Chengxi had said about what he could ask for, what he wanted, he asked her where he could find out some information. To which she gave him the number of a certain Chen Huahua, transferred 100,000 yuan to him and wished him good luck. He was surprised. Why did she transfer the money to him? He was very surprised. He's just a poor student. He didn't expect that Yi Chengxi would take his request so seriously and even give him money. After all, such cases are not cheap at all. Calling the number, he said he needed some information. To which I received an answer that it was an expensive pleasure. The next chapter begins with: late in the evening, Chu Qing is sitting in an expensive restaurant and waiting for Chen Huahua. Sipping a cocktail, he thought that during the phone conversation the informant was very strange. She didn't really ask anything about what he needed. It sounded like a girl, and he doesn't know if he can trust her. Then a hand touched his shoulder. Chu Qing turned around. It was Chen Huahua, a short cute girl with blonde hair. Chen Huahua leaned over to Chu Qing and called him brother and asked what he wanted to know. Chu Qing was very surprised. Chen Huahua was a real loli. Chu Qing asked if she was Chen Huahua, to which he received a positive response. She asked to be called Huer and was also very interested in what she and Yi Chengxi had. She also said that if they weren't dating, then he could be her boyfriend. Chu Qing even choked on his cocktail and coughed. Clearing his throat, Chu Qing said that he needed some information about the Jian family. Huer was actively asking if it was the family of that Tan Ziyan whom he beat in basketball. Is she his girlfriend? To which Chu Qing replied that she was not his girlfriend. While he was thinking who she was and how she knew everything about him. Is she following him? She poked his cheek with her finger and asked if he was free after all. Chu Qing didn't like it and asked him to stop fooling around or he would find another informant. To which Huer snorted, saying that she couldn't even fool around. How can he be so serious? But finally becoming serious and taking out a mobile device, she began to tell that the Tan family owns one big company and several smaller ones. There was also a rumor that they had some money problems, so they accepted the Li family's offer for the wedding. They wanted to marry Li Yue and Tan Ziyan, the heiress of the Tan family. In this way, the Li family would be able to help the Tan family. Chu Qing did not expect that the Tan Ziyang family had so much trouble. In her previous life, she had never mentioned anything like this to him. Maybe she was hiding it so as not to put pressure on him? Huer looked into the device and asked if he wanted to know anything else. To which he asked her to tell him something about alchemy. Thinking about the fact that in this world some families study ancient martial arts, then maybe alchemy was not without it. Huer replied that the Tan family is just the same, specializing in alchemy. They produce elixirs and medicines. Chu Qing was surprised. Are there alchemist families in this world? Wanting to know more, he asked Huer to tell him everything she knows about it. Huer leaned on the table and put her head on her hands and said that she would tell everything depending on how much the cute brother could pay. Chu Qing greatly resented this behavior of Huer and asked her to end it. Instead, she just laughed and said okay. Huer began to explain that she knew two kinds of alchemy. The first is ordinary alchemy, where an alchemist uses inner power to create an elixir. That's what the Tan family does. And the second uses some spiritual energy. That's all Huer knows. After hearing Huer talk about spiritual energy, Chu Qing was very surprised. Is there someone else like him in this world? Huer jumped off the chair and said he asked two questions. But since she likes him and he has a cute face, so he owes only 100,000. Chu Qing finally decided to ask if Huier could tell him about some reliable supplier of medicinal herbs and all that. A little embarrassed, Huier said she would tell him if Chu Qing went to dinner with her. A little while later, Huier and Chu Qing were at a street eatery. When they were already sitting at the tables, the waiter came up and said that Huier had come again and whether she had already chosen what she would order. To begin with, Huier asked for 20 skewers of meat and 4 cold beers. Chu Qing was very surprised. Do women in this world also like pork? And even in such quantities? And behind him at this moment a group of girls were drinking alcohol and eating shish kebab. Chu Qing had completely forgotten that everything here was different from his world. At this time, while he was thinking, Huier sat down close to him and began to cry. She said that the guy she liked rejected her because he thought she was poor. She had loved him for many years. Crying and hugging Chu Qing's hand, Huier complained that even though she plays a lot of games, her apartment is cramped and she has small breasts. But still, she deserves someone to love her. Huier pulled Chu Qing's hand, he looked at her. Huier was completely red and asked if he liked her. After a while, Chu Qing brought Huier to her apartment. He complained, why did she drink so much if she couldn't stand it? The apartment was a complete mess. Chu Qing did not understand at all why the apartment was such a mess. Can this loli really not take care of her own home at all? Chu Qing put Huier on the bed and it seemed she was sleeping. But as soon as he started to leave, she grabbed him and threw him on the bed, sitting on him. She was still drunk. She leaned on him and asked him not to leave, to stay with her. To which Chu Qing said that he would stay that way. Saying that it was great, Huier immediately fell asleep right on Chu Qing. A little while later, Huier was sleeping in bed while Chu Qing was studying the information received from Huier. It turned out that there was a leak of information, and now many people know that the Tan family is improving alchemy techniques. After opening the documents on the secret transaction, he read about the Shizhin auction house. It is the largest auction house in Jinmen, which mainly trades with large and ancient families. A whole bunch of elixirs pass through this auction house. In any world, money is needed to survive. Fortunately, Chu Qing knows the location of several priceless things. The time is moved back a couple of days. Chu Qing sits on the roof and cultivates. Chu Qing remembers that in the circle of immortal cultivators, there is an item called a spiritual stone. It can facilitate cultivation and help in the study of martial arts. A spiritual stone can be extracted from one's veins or by cultivating immortality by absorbing the aura of heaven and earth. There are no spiritual stones in this world, so Chu Qing decided to sell them, and then the money will flow to him like a river. The action is transferred to the Changsi family home. Yi Changxi's mom had completely regained her strength and was happy about it. She swore revenge on that old hag. She thanked Chu Qing for healing her and promised that if he got into trouble in the future, the Yi family would help him. Chu Qing left the house. After the poison was neutralized, his spiritual body completely opened up. Now he has to start cultivating it quickly. Then Yi Changxi called out to him, and when he turned around, she jumped to him, hugged and kissed him. Recoiling from him, she said that it was her little gift for the fact that he cured her mother. Then Yi Changxi was called by a bodyguard, saying that they had to go or they would be late for the meeting. Yi Changxi ran off, apologizing for not being able to stay now, but when she returned, he would receive the main gift. Having said that, she ran away. Chu Qing stood there and thought that a kiss with a girl was already a great gift. The narrative is transferred to the house of Chu Qing. He sits and cultivates his spiritual body. After some time, the energy in his body explodes and exits through his arm. After a short period of time, the energy began to materialize the sword. This sword is the only item that remained with Chu Qing after he passed through time and space. This sword has been with him for hundreds of years, its power is limitless, perhaps there is not even a copy of such a sword in this world. Taking the sword in his hands, Chu Qing revived his spiritual body. He was completely wrapped in magical runes of energy, and he was very happy about it. Chu Qing's sister came to the noise in the room, asking why he was making a noise. Chu Qing was scared and very nervous, hiding the sword behind his back. Chu Xiao looked at it with bewilderment. After all, he was standing naked in the room and was very nervous. She slammed the door and asked him to continue what he was doing, apologizing for interrupting him and coming in later. Chu Qing was looking at the locked door because there was a huge misunderstanding. Chu Qing started going to the auction house wearing a sword around his neck like a necklace to check how much his wallet was worth. Some time later, he came to the auction house, where he was met by the concierge, who was not at all happy about the visit. He asked him to leave and come back tomorrow since they were closed. But Chu Qing pulled out a spirit stone and asked to check it out, saying that it was definitely worth their time. The concierge first looked at Chu Qing's hand and said that it was just a yellow pebble and there was nothing special about it. But suddenly he got up from the table and asked to take a closer look at the stone. Taking it in his hand, he felt that there was a lot of aura in this stone. This stone can help novice cultivators and is a very rare treasure. When he realized what he was dealing with, he said that they had not met yet and introduced himself as Jia Yu. He is the heir of the Shizhin auction house. Chu Qing responded in kind by shaking his hand. After finishing with the greeting, Jia Yu asked how many of these stones Chu Qing had. He replied that it was a spiritual stone, everything is already clear about its properties, and he has 5 more of them. Jia Yu offered 200,000 for the stone, and if Chu Qing wants to sell them, then he can pay the money right now. Walking down the street, Chu Qing thought it was worth it, he got even more than he had planned. If everything goes well, he will be able to monopolize this area. Because of these stones, the whole martial arts world will soon be on its ears. Then Hue wrote to him, but while he was thinking what to answer, an assassin appeared in front of him and wanted to attack him, but Chu Qing took out the sword that was on his neck and repelled the attack. The assassin flew not far away, wondering what kind of power it was, but before he knew it, Chu Qing was already standing behind him, making a sword attack. Placing the sword on the assassin's shoulder, Chu Qing asked who sent it. He immediately cracked, saying that it was Li Yuwei. He hired him to deal with him. Li Yuwei said that Chu Qing was just a student, he lied to him. That's why the killer asked him not to kill him. But Chu Qing did not spare him and killed him, immediately passing on, telling him not to worry. His boss will be taking his body soon. While Chu Qing was walking, he thought that he would definitely get to the Li family. But then Chu Qing clutched his heart and turned pale. He didn't understand what was wrong with his body. What's going on with him? His whole body was burning, everything was swimming in front of his eyes, and he accidentally came to Huer's house and thought why he had come here. After ringing the doorbell, Huer instantly opened it, saying that he had finally come. He immediately hugged her. She was very surprised and confused, she asked him what he was going to do. He immediately pulled her to him and kissed her. They went inside the room and apologized to Huer. He himself did not understand what was happening to him. Is it because he killed a man? But in that world he was constantly killing. But Huer didn't reject him, she hugged him tightly. Huer asked him not to apologize and just continue and not dare to stop, after which they had an intimate relationship. After all, Huer was sleeping on Chu Qing and he was lost in his thoughts. He didn't want to get attached to this world, but something went wrong. Now in this world he has a lowly woman. Now he has no choice but to take over this world. The next morning at school, Chu Qing was sleeping on his desk. Tan Ziyan came to see him. Approaching his desk, she woke him up, saying that he had had enough sleep and offered to go to lunch. He was very surprised. Are women so straightforward in this world? Tan Ziyan looked at him a little surprised. But after sniffing, she asked why he smelled like another woman.